All right, hi guys. I'm going to show you a little bit about how to use those seeds I sent you. So your seeds came from this flower pack, and when I got it, I thought, oh my gosh, there's so many in here. I've got to share these with the kiddos. So they are wildflowers, and that means they'll kind of grow like weeds. They're pretty easy. I'll take a picture of the back of the package and send it so you can see, but there's all kinds of different flowers in here. Okay, see that list up there at the top? So many different kinds, and it'll be really fun once they start to come up to try to figure out what's what. Okay, so basically all you really have to do, and get these open, all you really have to do to plant these seeds, show you up close how different they all are. See that? They're all different. Is you need some dirt and you need something to hold it in. Now you can see this one, I just cut up a cardboard cracker box that I had in the house. I also had one of these left over from another plant that I had one time in the garage, so I went and grabbed that. But you really could put your soil in anything. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that when you water it, that water has to be able to go somewhere. So for this one, if I take it inside, I'll need to make sure I set it on a plate or some plastic or something so that it doesn't soak whatever it's sitting on. Now these are wildflowers. If you've got a backyard or front yard and you've got a place where it's okay with your parents, you can put them outside in a sunny spot, or if it's okay, you can grab just a couple of fistfuls of dirt. I mean, you can see this isn't very much. This was leftover potting soil that I had from another plant. This, again, leftover potting soil from another plant, and you could just dig up a little from outside if you had a place where you could do that. So it doesn't have to cost you anything extra. You just need to be a little creative. Now, in the back, you can see I had some extra straws laying around, so I put some straws in. I'm going to mark those. I'm going to get out a ruler and I'm going to mark those so that as my plants grow, I can kind of see how fast they're growing and how tall they get. Okay, so first you can see this is really dry. This potting soil is really dry. So I'm going to start by getting it nice and moist. Now you'll see as I start to water that what I'm talking about. That's going to get wet down there. And this one, when I water it, you'll see how it stands on top for a little bit before it starts to soak through. And then eventually it'll start to come out the bottom here. Give a little more, make sure that soil is nice and damp. Oh, it looks like I had some leaves in my watering pitcher there. Get those out of the way. All right, yep, you can see that water starting to come out the bottom there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my seeds and I'm just going to sprinkle them around on the top. All different. See that? Yep. And then just gently, you're going to get dirty when you do this. You're going to get dirt under your fingernails. You see my fingernail there? Yep. Okay, you're going to just press them in just a little. For most of these, about 1/4 of an inch is about as deep as they need to be. And then once you get them tucked in, you want to leave them alone. You don't want to mess with them too much. You know, they need a nice little nap in the soil. And somewhere around 14 days, they'll start to wake up and you'll see them poke through the top of that soil. That's always my favorite part. It's that very first little bit that starts poking through. It's so exciting to me. Okay. I told you it'd be easy. That's really it. The hardest part is the waiting. So now that they're in there, got a few days to wait. One thing you might want to do before you start planting your flowers is take a look at your seeds. Maybe even take a picture of all of the different ones that you have. Maybe even when you sprinkle them on top of the soil, take a picture so that you can see where all those different seeds ended up and see what grows from them. That would be a fun thing to do. Keep your seeds moist, but not too wet. When you're watering them, once they're in the ground, you don't want to disturb them. Be really gentle so you can water around the outsides where your seeds aren't. You really don't have to be a pro. Now, one last thing I want you to know. is that sometimes seeds just don't germinate. That means they don't grow. We don't get a little sprout out of the seed. And that doesn't necessarily mean you did anything wrong. Some seeds just aren't ready to do that. But if none of your seeds sprout, you might need a sunnier spot to let them sit in. You might need to make sure they're nicely covered with dirt. Make sure they're not being disturbed by anything. But damp soil and sunlight, and they should be good to go. All right, now remember, 14 days, 10 to 14 days before you start to see any sprouts is what you can expect. So find a sunny spot, find some dirt, and start gardening.